Hi, thank you for joining me. Welcome back to my series on the people who harm us. Other people can harm you, but it isn't always your enemies. Sometimes it's the people closest to you that harm you most. They harm in three main ways: manipulation, misguidance, and misery. This video is about misguidance. Something I've learned from painful experience is that you have to be very careful who you take advice from. A lot of people have at some point in their lives acted on someone else's advice and later regretted it because it turned out to be completely wrong. It happens all the time. Those well-meaning family and friends who think they're doing the right thing by you, they can harm you just as much as a vindictive person. Not because they intend to, their intention is usually the opposite, but they can harm you by simply giving you bad advice because they're ill-informed. You're naturally inclined to take advice from people you're close to because you trust them, but the fact remains that they don't get everything right. They have thinking errors. Some people have some very strange and distorted beliefs. They can be very caring, but also very misguided. So often people think they know the answers when they really don't, and they hand out advice like sweets, which often they're not qualified to give. This can be very damaging to the other person. The world is full of outdated images, common myths, superstitions, and misguided beliefs. People are heavily influenced by the media, and what that shows you isn't always reliable. They go by what they've been told by someone, who's been told by someone else. Stories get passed from one person to another, and they get bigger the more they're told. Other people can be working from a picture that is totally wrong. Incredibly, there are people around who believe in fairies. I've met them. So here are the reasons why other people's advice can be bad for you. They may not understand your situation or your needs. They can be brainwashed with false beliefs. Their knowledge can be inaccurate and out of date. They may not be living in reality. Some people can be very narrow-minded. If it's not what they would do, it's wrong. As an example, someone may be suffering from depression and someone else says to them, "You need to stop thinking like this. No, you shouldn't bother seeking help. Just throw yourself into your work. Get yourself a new interest." This is a common but fatal error. That person may have been well-meaning and genuinely trying to help the other person, but they were unqualified to advise them because of their lack of knowledge and understanding about mental health. Therefore, they have potentially caused harm to that person's well-being. Ignorance and misinformation can be extremely dangerous. Someone might have something they really want to do, but a friend or relative says, "Oh no, that can never happen," without taking the time to find out the real facts, and the other person misses out on something they really wanted that could have been great, but their dream was killed by someone who thought they were helping them and saving them from disappointment, but was working on an assumption. I know a lady who is very heavily involved in the New Age. I don't think she'll ever get out of it because she's totally brainwashed. She believes she's a special being with special abilities and infinite wisdom. Yet she's still getting into destructive relationships and doesn't even realise that she's repeating the same mistakes over and over again. She's totally delusional, and she goes around giving people all sorts of advice that she's not qualified to give and messing around with people's lives, while she leaves a trail of destruction in her wake, takes no responsibility, and leaves other people to pick up the pieces. She might think she's doing good, but she's not. All she's doing is harming people, and she can't even see it. The worst thing about it is that she's messing up her kids because she's brainwashing them with all this stuff. This is good intention gone badly wrong. People will always tell you what they believe to be right, but they can only see the world through their own eyes, and they're totally convinced of their own beliefs. Everyone has an opinion on everything, but that's all it is, Opinion is not the same as fact. A fact is something that's been proven to be right. Anything else is a theory. You can listen to their opinion, but it has to be backed up. Anyone can say anything. What you really need to look for is evidence. Sometimes people look to the older generation for advice because they're seen to be wise, which they are, but don't assume that just because they're an old person, they're always right. They might think they are, but they're not. They're just human beings who get things wrong like everyone else. They grew up in a different time, when the world was very different, and if they're still working from that picture, that's no good. The mind is like a computer. It has to update. Things change. The world changes. Information changes. What was right at one time isn't right anymore. Some people never update. They stay stuck in the past. That's why there's something to be said for talking to an expert and actually doing your own research. Don't rely on someone else's word, because people can get things wrong, however wise they are. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for watching. See you next time.